Welcome back to the final installment of the 2020 Kansas City Auto Show. I'm Corey Pratt, and this is Craving Cars. As we make our last jaunt through the Kansas City Auto Show, we actually see some other cool things that kind of showed up that we didn't really anticipate. Kansas City Automotive Museum, the Kansas City Exotic Club, really cool cars that aren't typically like the manufacturer showed up with the cars, but it was still kind of cool to see. So that was nice of them. I appreciate that. But we do get to check out the rest of the manufacturers of the show. We walking out and we do a quick small little picks of what we thought and something that what we have done in different categories that we saw, like favorite truck, car, sports car, SUV, things of that sort. So stick around for that at the end of the show. And let's go right into it, right where we left off once again. Oh, here are Nissan, and the first thing we see is one of their Pro 4 X Frontiers got ran over. I'm not sure what that would have had to done that got ran over like that, but it must hold up very well. There's no dents in it. All right, well, Nissan has their stuff. We really are anticipating the new Z coming out soon because they haven't changed that in a couple decades, seems like. But let's see what else they have to offer. What do they got? What does Nissan have for you, Steven?
Do what now?
What's Nissan offer for you? What do they have for you? What are you into? Japanese car-wise, you like Nissan?
It's over here.
These ain't terrible.
These aren't terrible. Okay.
I mean, whatever this.
What other Japanese? Do you like them better than other Japanese car makers? Worse? About the same? Are you pretty indifferent?
Pretty indifferent.
Okay.
Not very well informed.
Okay. Well, let's attempt to ask somebody who actually has an opinion on Japanese cars, besides myself. Okay, Nissan, we've got a nice little selection of their Titans out here. So if you're a big full-size Nissan or Japanese truck thing, I actually do like. Ooh, I like the little wood grain on that actually. On the truck side, I like Titans. I like Tundras, like Titans. I think the full-size trucks that come out of Japan are quite nice. And this platinum trim here has this brown interior. Let's just take a look. Has this brown interior that and a little bit of this. Kind of fake wood, but along the dash, the steering wheel. That's actually, I kind of like that. That's tasteful. It's decent, and I'm talking a lot about this truck because there's really not a whole lot else. Let's talk about Nissan. They have no sports stuff up here. They had a concept of like an old Datsun 240X SX kind of car or something of that sort from back in the day that they never released, which they need to. They've been talk of a new Z coming out, which they need to release. And as of right now, they don't even have a 370 up here, Nismo edition. They usually have something like that here, so that's not even the list of sports cars to choose from today because it's not here at the auto show. But if we had to choose a truck, this is running. This isn't a running for me. I haven't looked at a whole lot of them in extreme detail, but it depends on what you need a truck for. And this is pretty cool. Oh, their little strap management, tie down stuff, slides, little pocket stuff like that. I kind of like that. That's kind of cool. So for a utilitarian truck, Steven, I might be picking this as my job. I don't know. For a fun truck, I'd probably pick the Gladiator, but that's a smaller truck. I'm going to try to stick with full-size trucks on that option. Okay, we have a nice little other section. We've got some old bikes, old cars, just a fun little thing that they kind of tend to do. I think they've done it most years, where they have clubs and certain stuff. We've got Corvette stuff here. We've got just nice classic cars here. The museum is here, of course. The Kansas City Automotive Museum has showed presence. I believe the Kansas City Exotics group has some cars up here too, including some of the people I do know. And let's take a look at them. And this is, what's this? This looks like, oh, this is like an upgrade I want to do to my car. This is exactly what I wanted to do to my car. Hey, check this out. This is a really cool deal. What do you think? Be a pretty good upgrade, wouldn't it? Steven, do you have any I know this is just kind of like a little extra that museum and exotic club and stuff brings, but you got any ones you wanna like shout out on, like ones that stand out to you as some classic cars you like, or maybe on the exotic side you like, outside of that Cobra or Pantera?
Well, you just took away the two best ones. Well,
Okay. Well, what about like super classic? What about like back in here in these 50s?
We know the Pantera guy, so a little favoritism there.
That is an awesome car, regardless, and that's an awesome Cobra, regardless. But on the really, really classic stuff here, is there anything that really
I like the Carmen.
tickles your fancy?
I like the Carmen Ghia, and then you add to it, it's an actually electric Carmen Ghia. So.
That's different. Yep. But you like electric, so get the hell out of my face. No, I'm kidding. That is a cool car. Hey, so really nice of the museum, having some cars out, and of course inviting a lot of other people, of course, with their classic cars, and very cool of the Exotics Club of Kansas City to, bring some of your rides out too, because it's really awesome for people to look at, and for me. All right, and here we are at Kia. Kia has a couple cool things. The Stinger, for one. I do like the Stinger. I can't wait to see a different variation of that as it comes out. Hopefully even more performance-oriented, maybe wider tires or wide body kit's cool, things like that, more power, I don't know, whatever. They could do some more. The Telluride is a big thing for the Kia right now. So, since that is a huge seller, since that hasn't sold as much as they wanted, that has sold way more than they thought. Let's check them both out. I do know someone that actually has a Stinger, and they actually have it tuned with a bit more power than the factory one. But even with the factory one, the only thing that's kind of a Jimmy, once again, everybody's getting rid of the manual transmissions anyway, so you're not going to really have that in one of these. You can get a two-wheel drive, you can get a four-wheel drive version. They actually are fairly quick. For $50,000, you get a fairly nice loaded up one with the higher horsepower and the four-wheel drive. Does it compare to other cars in that price range? It does, absolutely. It actually outperforms some, and others that it may not outperform it has a little bit more luxury. So you need that touring type of car. You need actual proper back seats with 4 doors. And you're thinking you shouldn't have to compromise if you want some fun with it and some performance behind it. Then I think you should take a further look into the Kia Stinger. And it would be really cool to see what future renditions of this car is going to turn into, what kind of power output we're going to get, and things like that. But it's really not exactly a slouch, the way it sits either. What improvements would I like to see, besides maybe a little bit more power? Wider tires. I think they should tub out a little bit more tire, more traction to help perform better handling and things like that. But guys from the M division of BMW, or a guy that came over with Kia and Hyundai actually, to help develop the Veloster and this Stinger. I mean, this is the first run of the Veloster and the first run of of this Stinger, and I thought they did a really good job. I mean, most cars that do a first run don't do well at all. They have all kinds of issues, but just to kind of see what direction they're going to go from here in this car would be really, really nice to stick around for that. Let's hope they don't cancel this car. I know it didn't sell as well as the hype that they got on it, but they are selling it. All right, we're in the Kia Telluride, the SUV that apparently more people want than not. It's a very competitive car. It's a very luxurious looking car. The materials in it, I mean, it really does feel nice. The steering wheel feels nice. The stitching and all the stuff, the dash is not too bad. The fake woodwork actually has a nice touch to it because of the color, the stain in it is really cool. The seats aren't too bad. It actually has a proper locking differential, which means this is a real four-wheel drive vehicle, which I think is very interesting. That I did not know until literally just a couple minutes ago, because you can see the button says lock. So what else can it mean? It's a good sized SUV. So you're going to have plenty of your back row, third row seating, cargo area. I mean, it's going to be your typical there. Probably not a whole lot of real innovative stuff back that way. But as the vehicle itself, this is pretty clean. And the style on the outside, very nice. Well done, Kia. So another compelling question just kind of came up, I thought, when it goes to comparing and picking favorite ones. If you're looking at a four-door performance-oriented sedan, would you take a Charger? Similar price Charger, which I believe you can still get a V8 with that, or the Kia Stinger? Let us know, please. All right, into Honda. Honda. So what does Honda have? That. A Civic Type R. And at some point, they're going to have a Chiefs player signing. I believe it's going to be Kelsey. I don't think it's today. It might be tomorrow. I thought it was today. Might be tomorrow. Doesn't really matter. By the time you watch this video, it's over. I have not seen a change really much with the Type R in the last few years, at least since it's been out. But I will say, oh my God, these seats are so comfy. Like you could travel with these seats, and they hug you very, very well. But the interior is nice in these. I do like it. The steering wheel feels good. The shifter is kind of nice. The fact that you can still, it's one of those manual deals. 300 horsepower. Front-wheel drive Civic Type R that really gets up and goes really well. We will be getting into one this year, finally, to check that out and really get a feel of it. And one of them that we might be able to get into is not really stock either. It's mostly stock, but they got a couple little changes, and we'll take a look at that a little bit closer. But outside of that, I mean, the Civic is a bigger car nowadays, so it's not like the type little SIs and Type Rs they had back in the past. So they're definitely a little bit bigger, but from my understanding on how well this car controls itself and the balance and the suspension, the handling, you really got to feel it for yourself to really get the appreciation, I think, out of it. And that's what we're going to go do at some point here to make sure once we're out of the cold weather. And I think we're kind of out of the worst of the cold weather. We're getting into spring here early, but yeah, stick around for some more Honda Civic Type R stuff in the past or in the future. And in the meantime, let's just take a look at this one. See, on the Honda side, they got a cool blue too, similar to the Acura. I wonder if there's a connection. Well, lots of course other passenger cars, SUVs, and things of that sort for Honda, but we got to move on. All right, into the Toyota area.
SEMA.
And
We have Supras out there.
and yeah, we've got the 86 GT86, and we've got some Toyota Supras here. I did get to sit in a Supra at SEMA. Let's get a refresher though for this one here. Let's go ahead and do a little comparison between an 86 and a Supra. I think that's proper. They're two sports cars that they have. Lower dollar, higher dollar kind of thing. 200 to 300 whatever horsepower. And they're already going to update this car for 2021 actually, so that's kind of nice. They're already going to bump this up to about another 50 more horsepower than it has, and a few other little minor things. Well, let's take a look at the Supra. In the Toyota 86, I guess the GT86, the old Scion FRS, a little more Alcantara type materials on the dash, the seats up here. This is an automatic version, so I'm not very happy about that, but they do still make a manual version. They got little paddle shifters on here. The center, basically like the center tack, is really nice. It still looks a lot more plainer in here, so I guarantee we're gonna get the Supra. Because it's built by BMW, it's gonna have BMW type interior to justify that double price premium. The seats are comfortable. I think it's still only like a 205 horsepower 4-cylinder, naturally aspirated. So if you're into the turbocharging of cars, you can always do some aftermarket that and really beef this up. I've seen some, and some that's been pretty nice actually. It's just the interior quality isn't really up to par, I think, with the price of what this car goes for. I feel like most cars in this price range are a little bit nicer. Maybe not by a lot. Well, they got all electronics turned off in there. It wasn't really, it was so dark in there. It was just too hard to try to film. You couldn't see nothing because nothing lit up anyways. But obviously interior leaps and bounds better than the 86. You got the money, go for that if you don't care about manuals. If not, whatever. But that brings me to this car, the Supra, the GR. This is basically your racing modified. So take a look what they've done with the suspension. Let me show you this. Very cool. I kind of like this. They went with, which I actually like this a lot too, but that little bit more of that 90s spoiler on the Supras. That's so far been my favorite of the ones that I've seen to this date. Huge split on the front, but bigger brakes, a little more performance-oriented version. I like it, and cooler looking seats. Well, a nice alternative to the off-roader in mind sported type people, the Toyotas. You've got the Tacoma, the 4Runner, the Tundra. I mean, all able to be outfitted quite well. Someone who maybe not be the biggest Jeep fan, that might be the route to go. I do like them a lot. I'm just a little bit more of a Jeep fan, so I tend to go the Jeep route. But I wouldn't be upset having, the 4Runner Tundra truck of that sort for that basically overlanding experience. Well, obviously Toyota's got their other passenger type of vehicles and SUVs and cars and more SUVs and a Camry with a spoiler on it. I'm going to be honest with you, Steven, I didn't know Camry had a TRD, don't say it, a TRD options for that Camry, so that's interesting. But that's Toyota. That is actually the last manufacturer to look at here at the auto show today. That is pretty much the show. We've seen it all. now we got to kind of think a little bit, maybe get a drink, and talk just a little bit more about what we think we might have liked the best, which is going to be tough because I don't remember half of it.
Exactly. So that might
I guess we'll have to go back on the video and look and film it later. No. Okay.
It might get thrown out the window.
Oh, on our way back down. Head out to the lobby, and I think we might even discuss a few cars that we might have thought stood out and liked a little bit over others. There were makers, of course, that did not show up. We'll talk about those too. But it's been a good show here at the Kansas City Convention Center. Well, it was actually still a pretty good show. Now, I will say our picks are going to be a little small this year. A little bit more generic maybe. I don't know. Because the deal is BMW wasn't here, Mini wasn't here, Audi wasn't here, and neither was Volvo. So those are some pretty good choices to put in the mix of cars. And there's not a lot of performance models in a lot of things nowadays. Cadillac's dropping stuff, and there's other ones that bring a whole lot of stuff. But with that said, we still picked a couple things. Truck, SUV, stuff that I think I'm going to do more honorable mentions, I suppose, as opposed to final picks. So, Steven?
Yes.
Truck.
Raptor.
Raptor?
Gotta go with the Raptor.
I like the Raptor. Now, if I had to go with just a full-size, unsports-oriented kind of thing, I kind of like the Nissan Titan. I think I would pick that as for just a full-size beast. Do you care about mid-size trucks at all? Rangers, Colorados, do you really care?
Yes and no. I mean, I like the old Rangers because it was significantly different.
Yeah, it was.
Nowadays, the Rangers dang near the size of F-150, and for the price difference, excuse me, a few $1,000s more, you might, unless you just really want a little truck, why not just get a full-size truck?
That's right. I kind of like that way too. I think the Jeep Gladiators are actually pretty cool in their own mind, but I don't really have a big need for a truck. I do like them the best because I like Jeeps, but I don't really have a big use for trucks. So that's why let's go with a regular truck, the regular full-size truck, because price difference. I mean, you can spend $60,000 on a Gladiator. So let's just do those. He did Raptor. I remember doing Raptor last year. I'm going to stick with the Titan. So SUV then. Let's go into that.
Explorer ST. I've been looking at Explorers
cool.
anyway.
Yep.
I thought about getting Explorer before I picked up my Mustang, just to price,
Yep.
So now they have, maybe a little performance-oriented or whatever the package does, but
We were told that a tune could really make them
yes,
a difference. So
a bystander mentioned a tune. Just a tune alone will really wake it up. So
yeah. So that would be interested to see people do that. I'm sure we'll get some videos on that one. Not us personally, but somebody will have some videos out there for that. So I think that's a pretty solid choice. I'm going to go on just straight SUV. My mention typically is the Wrangler Unlimited JL Wrangler because it's still an SUV. That's still my favorite, but I'm going to give an honorable mention to the Telluride, to the Kia Telluride. I think that was kind of a cool little car. Which, going into cars, we try to break this up with domestic import. There wasn't a whole lot to choose from with certain things that we look for in our cars. So just car in general, the Alfa Romeo Giulia, right? That's kind of his pick on that end, and for me, it was going to be. I can see really go way up there if I really wanted to, or go a lot less. But just to kind of throw it out there, just because it might be changing soon, but I want to kind of give it a little bit of heads up. I think the Kia Stinger is still a valuable car for what it is. So let's throw a Stinger up there. In the mix. I like that. Now, sports car, we're going to do that. Now, I'm just going to go out sports car. There wasn't enough to choose from a sports car or to an exotic.
Right.
So what would you think on your sports?
Lexus LS or LC?
LC, yep. LC 500, yes. And that green was pretty cool.
And the green was what got me.
Yeah, that was really, I like that. And for me...
I'm normally not a green fan.
Yeah.
Granted, I have a green car.
Yeah, he does. But it's a completely different kind of green, really.
Right. Just something about that green was.
I'm going with. I'm not gonna compromise on this one because the 2020 model of the 911 992 Carrera S was here, and that's it. That's my pick. Still a Porsche guy. There was some other cool ones, but they did have the brand new version, so that was in my pick, and there wasn't a whole lot other to choose from, in my opinion. Yes, the Supra was here and things, but if we're only gonna pick one, that's it. that's our picks. What's your guys' picks? Let us know in the comments below. And yeah, we can chat about that a little bit. And other than that, good show?
Good show.
Awesome. We had a lot of fun. Thanks for joining in, guys. Like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to, keep the comments on. And to all you the cravers out there,
always keep craving.
Always keep craving. So, I think I'm done with that one. I think we're going to do good just for what we did. So, I've got 1, 2, 3 intros and 2 extros. And then the third one has its own. And the second one, the first one, kind of has one too. So, it kind of does its thing too. So, let me think what else I need to talk about. Let me know if you want to see more auto videos like this. And maybe do you want to see me try to do the whole thing with an accent? I'm not very good at it. But you can kind of see right now what kind of potential I might have on that one. So, I don't even know where this is from. I don't know what this is. Is this like a British type of accent? I'm not really even sure. Oh, no, I can do some other ones, but let's just not do that right now. Let's just kind of stick with this one. It seems to be working at the moment. It's not working, actually. Not at all, actually. All right. Thanks anyways.